welcome to my channel. Well, power banks are one of those that, unless you know who made it and everything, you really take your chances on those, and a lot of times they lie. This one, even though it's huge and everything, it's fairly light, so that's one indicator. Although the scammers and everything know that, and so they put sand or lead or anything cheap and heavy in there, and to fool you with the weight. But this one's lighter than this one. This one works pretty well. It only has like a 4-bar power indicator, but that's all right. But I think the capacity is about right on. See, a good one should tell you the capacity. This one says it's 10,000 milliamps. With one of these, you should be able to charge up your cell phone. My Samsung sucks up power and everything, but this one right here, look how they just first off, the fake leather plastic stitching. I mean, come on, man, really? But anyways, capacity 3.7 volts, input 5 volts, 2 amps. That's not your capacity. That's your operating voltage. That's not your capacity. Output 1 to 2, 5 volts, 2.1 amps. Outputs 1 and 2, 5 volts at 2.1 amps. Outputs 3 and 4, 4.5 volts. One's 5 volts and one's 4. Anyways. So, yeah, you've got micro USB, and then this is like an Apple or a Lightning or something. It's not a USB-C. So that should tell you something about its age. But anyways, when you're looking at one of these things, it's got this little indicator here. What got me was my phone was at like 56% or something. And today's Friday, free electricity Friday, but it happens at 6 p.m. So what I was doing is just gonna, run off the power banks on things that I need to charge, and then jump back to charging them up. Well, I've always noticed this one's kind of weak. So here's one place where you want to use a pry thing instead of your knife for a couple of reasons. One, if this thing's too resistant to prying, you're going to slip and cut yourself. And the other one is also, you can break your tip on your knife. That's what pry bars are for. So, unless you've got a slip joint, I mean an awl. An awl might work, but it's more designed for reaming out holes. So what I'm going to do is try to do this. I'm going to try to run along here. Just do a little wedge in, because it was probably just glued on. See, it's trying to snap back into place. So we may need, we may need the help of toothpicks. So hang on. Well, actually, since this is a knife channel, I was thinking of toothpick, but toothpicks are wood and everything. So I've got this queen with the punch, and I sharpened this punch up pretty good. But it's like a chisel shape, it's flat. So that's what we need, is like a wedge that ramps. But you have to start it with something flat, probably. And then because I got along a certain way with it, and then it snapped back, I'm going to try to get back up there again and do that. Maybe I can go up. I'm not worried about damaging this too much, because there we go. There's an opening over here, I see. Sorry. This is a flashlight. It's fairly... There's an LED flashlight in there. It's not anything to write home about. I've never done this before, obviously. To this one. If I cut myself or anything, I'll try not to scream too loud. There we go. Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. tried to use this yet. This is where this guy would come in. But because he's metal, you know, and we're dealing with lithium and a battery bank and everything, probably not a good idea to stick a conductive piece of steel in there. Just, you know, my brain actually engaged for a few seconds because I was thinking about running it in there. I can use this because right now it's biting my thumb. There you go. There's a safe wedging device. A ruler to rule them all. And this is really hard to do on camera. I'm just going to do it off camera so you don't have to watch the struggle. Alright, I only managed to shear off a few things. This is just a base plate, so you know, fortunately I didn't grab all the electronics, but here's our culprits right here. See, you had enough room for 1, 2, 3 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could easily stick 6 in here. I did break a little plastic in this operation, but if I could just tap in some spring-loaded things, because see, these are spot welded, which is the way you want to. That's the way you want to do batteries. You don't want to take a soldering iron and attach it directly to the battery like that because of the heat, mainly. I mean, if you do quick and if you do it all right. But there you go. Like I said, this can be salvaged. It's in parallel. As you can see, the negatives are all together and the positives are all together. B plus, B minus, and there's your outputs. So I'm going to take these guys out. Again, you know, it's just like hot glued in here. I'm going to take these guys out. Well, you're breaking it. Yeah, well, it's already defective. And when the charging comes, I'm just going to snip these guys off. When the free electricity comes up, I'll do a discharge on this because it's a wrap, and I don't think there's any printing underneath it. So, you know, these are either recycled laptop batteries or something, but I bet they're less than 2,000 milliamps each. And with a battery this capacity right here, being a battery bank, you could easily stick in 3,000 milliamp 18650s in here. 3, 6, 9, 12. 15. You could easily do a 15 in here, or a 16. 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. You could do 18,000 in a thing this size if you had decent batteries in there. But that's where they get you. You never know what are in these. You know, I mean, this feels like a halfway decent weight, and it looks like a, you never know. Like I said, I'm not going to tear one apart. I'll solder to this, because that's already been spot welded. And you want them sturdy enough to handle whatever amount of amperage you're going to do, but you're not dealing with a whole lot of amps. You know, 2 amps out, and they should be able to handle it. But anyways, I'm going to break these out. And yeah, I just wanted to show you what the inside of one of these power banks are. And capacity. Those numbers lie on a lot of them. Especially, you know, because they're made in China. So you just take your chances with that. But like I said, this thing, it's smaller than this, but this one is nothing. I mean, it drains them in no time. There is some battery voltage in here. It does recognize it, but it, you know, 2 amps. It's not going to do a fast charge out of it. But anyway, Thank you for watching. I'll let you know what happens on the upgrade with it later on. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Okay, I found something interesting. This little tester that I've got right here comes in pretty handy. It's not really it's kind of like a multimeter, but you know, you set it for whatever kind of battery you have. And then I took these apart. These things are sharp. You know, picking up electronics, I'm only sensitive to sharp things and feelings like, I'm getting shocked. Anyways, let's get this guy over here where I can see it. I think there's a dead battery in here because one of I read before was at 65%. See, this is at 65%. 3.82 volts. That's not even operating voltage. 213 milliohms. That's kind of high. That's not super bad. All right, I'm going to take another one. 3.8 volts. 137 milliohms. That's not too bad. Yeah, so I don't know why it would say 0% capacity. 3.83 volts, 235 milliohms. A little bit more internal resistance on that one. All right. Here's the last guy. Because it's in parallel, your weakest link is your weakest battery. 3.8 volts, 151. So there's something whacked about this regulator circuit, you know, because all of those read approximately 65%, and this is a digital readout on this thing here, right? It's not like just a dot, but even in dots, man, this would be like 3 dots, you know, out of 4 if you had 4. It's above 50%, but it's less than 75%. It's 65%. All the batteries read 65%. So I could try putting a couple more 18650s of different manufacturer in here, because you know, I've got basically a battery management circuit. These rarely go bad. If they do, they usually just stop working, and they usually know what they're doing. So I doubt if anything like that is whacked. But it's kind of strange that all these guys are hooked in parallel. One's got a higher internal resistance than the other, but none of them read anywhere near. For it to say 0% capacitor, they would have to be close to 3 volts, down to like 3 volts on each one of them. If they had any of them read 3 volts and it was in parallel, I would think, all right, but they're all acting fairly normal. So when I get the, I'm going to charge one of them up. I'm going to slap one of them in the charger, and I'm going to discharge it. I'm going to put it on the repair cycle or the discharge cycle or something. But I want to just discharge it all the way down to what the machine thinks is a safe, you know, low voltage. I'm not going to necessarily make it, you know, go, you know, super low. And then I'm going to let it charge up and see what my individual capacity is. Hang on, I hear a cat.